What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I want you guys to let me know something right off the top, right down in the comments section. Let me know, how has the government shutdown affected your life? Have you even noticed that the government was shut down? As a matter of fact, that is so fascinating to me. But I've got some good news for all you MAGA-loving people out there. This is great news, y'all. Check this out. Trump budget chief Russ Vought, by the way, says firings are coming in 1 to 2 days due to shutdown. Oh, and they're going to say, oh, that we don't want to fire these people. Yeah, right. You want to get rid of as many bureaucrats as you can. I mean, come on. Don't lie to us about that now. Come on, Russ Vought. Don't lie to us about that. You know you guys want to get rid of as many federal employees as you possibly can. And look, I'm right there with you. But I understand what you're doing. You want to make it look to Democrats because you want to blame Democrats for the government shutdown, which I totally agree with that as well. Right? When you bear out all the facts, right? You give everybody the facts. The government shutdown can be blamed solely and squarely on Democrats. And, you know, that may sound like a partisan take to you guys, right? You're like, oh, it's just a MAGA shill or whatever, right? Look, I'll put it this way to you. Okay, so Republicans, which kind of ticked me off, to be honest with you, Republicans want to keep the spending levels the same, right? The same as it was under Joe Biden. $1.8 trillion deficit spending. And guess what Democrats want to do? Guess why there's a government shutdown? Because Democrats didn't agree to that. Because Democrats want criminal aliens to get free health care, folks. That is right. And they're willing to shut the government down over criminal aliens getting free health care. Oh, of course they're going to tell you they want health care for everybody. We just want these subsidies, right? There were some subsidies put in place during COVID to help out with COVID. Those are about to expire. And which, once again, those help criminal aliens. Those subsidies are, you know, basically subsidize criminal alien health care, essentially. And other things, to be honest, to be fair, to be honest, other things as well. There's a lot of other stuff that goes along with those subsidies, but Democrats want to keep those in place. Republicans look at the budget and think, well, $1.8 trillion, that's a lot. That's a whole lot. We need to cut that back. But they still want to keep the government spending at flat, which is no good, no bueno, if you ask me. Because, once again, folks, $1.8 trillion. Even if we go back to Trump numbers pre-COVID, $956 billion. That's $956 billion more spent than what we took in revenue. That's insane. That is truly insane. This government cannot sustain that indefinitely, folks. And we have been sustaining deficit spending since the 1990s. Okay, so something must change. And once again, Republicans are like, let's just keep it what it was under Joe Biden. And Democrats are like, no, we want criminal alien health care. And once again, they're willing to shut the government down. But let's get into this news article because I just love it when I hear about federal employees getting fired. Because once again, folks, we can't afford to keep these people around. It's not like I want people to you know, their lives to be ruined and them to lose their jobs. Of course not, folks. That is, you know, the ill-compassionate thing to do. But once again, what do you do with a company that can't afford the employees that they have? What do? Oh, they lay a bunch of people off, don't they? And there's nothing you can do about that, because if you keep those people and that company goes bankrupt because of it, guess what? There's no more company. Well, you know, the same story could be told for the government. If you keep way too many employees, you spend way too much money in a deficit, you rack up so much debt, you get to where you can't pay that debt, and then guess what happens, folks? You fault. You go bankrupt. And when a government goes bankrupt, the nation collapses. And it's not a very pretty thing to do. Check it out, y'all. Office of Management and Budget Director Russell Vought told House Republicans on Wednesday, the first day of the government shutdown, that the Trump administration will start firing federal employees in the next 1 or 2 days, according to 2 GOP sources on the conference call. Vought, who issued a memo last week threatening mass firings in the federal workforce in the event of a shutdown, did not outline specifics to Republicans about those plans and argued the layoffs would not be happening if it weren't for Democrats. Once again, folks, that is true. That is not a Republican talking point. That is just the fact of reality. Well, like I said, once you look at everything, and look that we even have a shutdown duration, and as of when I read this news article originally, which was at this point a couple hours ago, but for you could have been days ago. I don't know when you're watching this video, by the way. I'm sorry. But, you know, it had been shut down for 16 hours, 57 minutes, and 56 seconds, as a matter of fact. I just love how NBC has this shutdown counter. It's funny. I just find that hilarious. I'm sorry. Moments later, in the White House briefing room, Vice President J.D. Vance confirmed layoffs would happen shortly unless the government reopens. We are going to have to lay some people off if the shutdown continues. We don't like that. We don't necessarily want to do it, Vance told reporters. But we're going to do what we have to keep the American people's essential services continuing to run. And then look what they do right here, folks. I love this. Check it out. I'm going to read it, and I left it in here for a very specific reason. Watch this. We'd like to hear from you about how you're experiencing the government shutdown. Whether you're a federal employee who can't work right now or someone who is feeling the effects of shuttered services in your everyday life, please contact us at tips@nbcuni.com or reach out to us here, and it's a little link or whatever. That is funny. That is fascinating to me. Like, I really want to call and say, I am really deeply appreciative of this government shutdown right now, because as long as the government is shut down, we're not really spending much money. I know, like, folks, look, this is why I opened with, hey, how is the government shutdown affecting you? And I'm pretty sure it's not affecting you, because essential services don't shut down. And what do they deem essential? Pretty much most everything. What actually shuts down? I don't know, like park services, things like that, non-essential stuff. So that's the only thing that shut down. So any services like healthcare services, Veterans Affairs, things of this nature, yeah, those don't get shut down, by the way. So how would a government shutdown actually affect you? Oh, well, you can't go to this park or something like that. Like, are you kidding me? And they left a tip line for that. So, you know, the link is right there if you guys want to click on that link and go tell the government or go tell NBC how the government shutdown is affecting you. But I would once again really love to hear it from you guys. Y'all leave y'all comments down there. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to hear them, y'all. But Vance denied that the Trump administration would target federal workers for layoffs based on their politics. What do you mean denied it? It's because they asked him a pointed question that's a nonsensical question. Hey, are you going to fire people based upon their politics? Like, have they hinted at doing that? I just love how NBC writes their stories. They do every single thing they can. Once again, the narrative always is to make Republicans look evil and Democrats look like angels. That's everything they do, just about. We're not targeting federal agencies based on politics, Vance said. We're targeting the people's government so that as much as possible of the essential services can continue to function. Yeah, you just told us that. Vaught's memo said agencies would be directed to consider reduction in force notices for all employees in programs, projects, or activities whose funding dried up beginning on October 1st due to the shutdown and are not consistent with the president's priorities. The memo did not say how many federal employees might lose their jobs. During the Wednesday afternoon virtual call, Vaught also warned that the Women, Infants, and Children nutrition program is set to run out of money by next week if the government doesn't open. The National WIC Association, which represents members on the state and local level, confirmed that timeline to NBC News, saying funding could dry up in a week or two. Other topics came up on the call, including military pay, which will be on hold along with other federal employees' pay during the shutdown, and national parks, which will remain partially open. Once again, they're not even shutting down these things fully. Asked about the administration's threats to fire federal workers, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said they would have to lay off people regardless of a shutdown, arguing it is Republican ideology to cause pain. Oh, is that so? Oh, it's not because they're trying to save this government and save this country and try to make it great again. Oh, it's just because, they're pissed off at federal employees and they want to cause them pain. So they're going to shut the government down and not capitulate to Democrats' demands. Are you kidding me? Hakeem Jeffries. But they have to try to deflect at any way they can. So what do? It's an ad hominem attack. Instead of addressing the issue of Democrats' demands just being completely insane, no, they go ad hominem with it. Might as well. I mean, you're the Democratic leader, and right now the Democrats, they're lost in the desert still. So all this talk that we see right now, as if it has anything to do with the shutdown that Republicans have caused, no, it's their ideology, Jeffrey told reporters. Cruelty is the point when it comes to the Republican Party. See, that's not true, is it? No, that's not true. He knows it's not true. You know it's not true. I know it's not true. Gavin Newsom knows it's not true, but that doesn't stop them from repeating that line. And that's all they have, folks. Think about it like this. In case you're a Democrat, or you feel the Trump administration is in a bad way, or they're just being cruel for cruelty's sake. Once again, think about it like this. Take my argument from the beginning. Democrats want to expand health care. They want to keep pandemic era subsidies in place. And Republicans are like, no, we were getting along fine without these before the pandemic. Healthcare was, it was working just fine. We can't afford to do these things. And they also, once again, want to keep the spending levels the same as it was under Biden. That's not good enough for Democrats. That's the argument from Republicans. But what do you get from Democrats? Think about this, folks. What do you get from Democrats? Oh, the Republicans are cruel. Are you freaking kidding me? If you can sit there on the other side of this screen right here and tell me that, yes, that's a legitimate argument. That's a legitimate counter to what Republicans are saying. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do to help you. You are lost in the desert with the Democrats. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're saying. You're living a delusion. Look, I'm not going to say it's all Democrats' fault. But, once again, I think the compromise that Republicans are giving to keep the spending the same as it was under Joe Biden. They're not even threatening to cut spending, folks. I'm sorry. The vast majority of the blame, 99%. The other 1% is because Republicans, they want to keep some semblance of fiscal responsibility. So pretty much all of the blame is on Democrats at this point. And once again, I'm trying to look at this holistically. I'm not trying to be partisan about it. But when you look at everything, that it is what it is. Those are the facts. You get the argument from Republicans. Hey, there it is. That's the argument. We don't want to pay for criminal alien health care, and we don't want to keep these subsidies in place. And what do you get from Democrats? Cruelty. That's it. Vaught's conversation with House Republicans came shortly after the Senate, for the second time in 24 hours, voted down dueling Democratic and Republican proposals to fund the government. At least 60 votes are needed to advance any funding bill in the Senate, meaning a vote must be bipartisan to succeed, given the Republicans' 53 to 47 majority. Funding expired at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday after the two parties failed to reach a deal on the stopgap funding bill to keep the government's lights on past the end of the fiscal year, September 30. Lovely, folks. I just love every single minute of this. Once again, you know, the last time the government shut down, that was because Donald Trump was... Look, I'll say it. I'll be nice to any Democrat that's still listening to this. He was throwing a temper tantrum because he wanted his border wall. Look, I get it. That was all Donald Trump's fault. He even said it to Chuck Schumer's face. I'll take the blame. I want what I want. This is what the American people want. That's what he wanted. And that's what he got, folks. They ended up capitulating to it. So, once again, Donald Trump does not care. He is willing to keep the government shut down for as long as possible. And it's incumbent upon Democrats to compromise. Republicans are compromising. Democrats are not compromising. That's all I got to say about that, folks. The Democrats' demands are just insane. That's it. That's all you can say about it. I'm trying to be as fair as possible here. The argument from Democrats is Republicans are cruel. And the argument from Republicans is we can't afford these things. So, I don't know. You guys tell me, right? Am I in the wrong here? Y'all let me know down in the comments section. But I don't know. I just feel like, you know, the logistical sense that I'm getting from this is, yeah, Republicans are in the right here. Right? They have every right? And like I said, they should have took it a little bit further. We need more spending cuts, folks. $1.8 trillion deficit spending. It's just truly insane. But I've got a bombshell of a story for my next video. So y'all make sure and stay tuned for that. You guys, y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Don't forget, smash that like button for me if you don't mind. I sure would appreciate that. Subscribe if you're new around here. That would be great. I'd love to have you guys on board. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. And if you could, if you're open-hearted enough, click that join button, sign up, and become a member. That's the best way to help this channel expand and grow, y'all. So you guys do all that for me. And y'all remember that God is always with us. And he loves each and every one of you out there. So y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.